Music Hall. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for coming. Got a special treat tonight. I personally knew of Mike a little bit. After I agreed to do the clinic, I started to see his name pop up. I was going through old Guitar Player magazines the other day, and I found this article from 1990 talking about how he got his start. Basically, I think one of the quotes was that they were saying that Frank Zappa was looking for somebody who could do all the guitar parts that he couldn't. And then I was thinking back to all my brothers listening to Frank Zappa albums and all the guitar work on there, and just saying to myself, well, that's a pretty impressive statement in and of itself. His picture's on the cover of the new price list for Taylor. Very, very impressive collection of accolades, just the albums he's done, the work he's done with, I guess, symphonies. Were you playing overseas?
Mm-hmm. Did some stuff with the Holland Orchestra, the Metropole Orchestra. Yeah.
So, just a vast knowledge, and I don't know. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don. This is Brian Beller on bass here. I'm going to try and supplant an entire orchestra tonight. Wish me luck. We're going to start with a piece from the Knocker Tomp album, which we haven't done in an acoustic format in a while. And we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff, but we'll start off by playing, because I just saw Mystic River and I need to cheer up. So this song is called Home. Thank you. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thanks so much. We have been doing these performances for Taylor Guitars for a few years now. I started playing the Taylor Guitars in 1994, and Brian started playing the Taylor Acoustic Bass in '95. And we started playing the instruments just because we wanted to, not because we were officially hooked up with the company at that point. But I just took to the guitars real early on, and then after a few years of playing them, they asked us to go around and start doing these performances, which we're real happy about because we're very pleased to be representing such a genuinely fine company. And I just want to start talking about Taylor by talking about the people that make up the company. It's a rare thing when you find a company that's this successful that still has a soul, and they're so into acoustic guitar. They're really devoted to putting out a quality product and doing it for its own sake because they love it. And Bob Taylor, who's the head of the company, is a really creative and restless and innovative individual. One of the finest people I've met in the music industry, actually. And I'm lucky because I live in San Diego, just a few miles from the Taylor factory, so I can go and hang out. And I can see what they're up to, and there's a lot of integrity and there's a lot of heart, and they're just great people. So how many people here own a Taylor guitar? And I presume you're happy with your decision? Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anyone say no. You know,
we're waiting for someone to stand up and throw something at us. No, I'm not happy. It hasn't happened yet.
Taylor owners just are satisfied, and if you check out the Wood and Steel publication, which Taylor puts out, it's a quarterly publication. It's really good. It's not just like a promotional rag that you want to recycle the moment it hits your mailbox. It's something that you can actually read. The quality of the writing and the design and everything is just top notch, and it respects the intelligence of the reader, which is also a rare commodity these days. And it's just you read the letters column in Wood and Steel, and it's just jam packed with genuine testimonials from really satisfied Taylor owners. And these people seem to never stop at one guitar. They always go back and end up buying more and more. So if anybody here is interested in what Taylor's doing, you should check out the stock here at the store and just see if anything suits your needs, and also check out Taylor Guitars' website, which is taylorguitars.com. But also the catalogs and the Wood and Steels are over in the table in the foyer there. So please check that out, and we'll talk more about that stuff and some new things that Taylor's getting into as the night goes on. But also want to invite anybody here who might have any questions about anything that we're doing, anything we've done in the past. Just all topics are open and available. So
is there anyone here who doesn't know, who has no idea who we are?
Cool, Steve.
Great,
yeah. We know who you are, so just keep that hand up. But just briefly, like Don mentioned, I played with Frank Zappa in the late '80s, and then a few years after that, I was in Steve Vai's band, and I've been doing solo records since 1992. I'm about to put out the 10th and 11th album early next year. So if you want to hear any tunes, by the way, if anybody here is familiar with what we've done in the past, if you've got a request, we're open to that as well. Bella, you got anything you need to say at this point? We have a bunch of strings to give away too.
Yes,
so
we have strings we're going to give away. When we talk about the Taylor stuff, we'll ask you some completely inane and completely irrelevant trivia questions, and you get to win a set of Elixir strings, which are good strings and deserve better than our irrelevant questions can associate with them. But that's just because they're so good. Let's play something acoustic.
Okay.
Let's do Machupicchu.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Do that.
Here's a tune from my most recent release, which is a pretty much an acoustic album, actually. It's called Wood and Smoke, and this piece is called, thanks, man. This piece is called Machupicchu. Well, let's see. There you go. Thank you. Thanks so much. Brian Beller is going to tell you something about the ES system. It's called the Expression System, the most recent pickup system that Taylor's introduced for their acoustic guitars.
I am. How many people are familiar with the ES system already? So that means that most people aren't, which is good. Bob Taylor, the namesake and leader of Taylor Guitars, is not just the head of the company, he's also the chief designer, which is a really cool thing in the way that he's constantly and always has tried to produce innovations and introduce innovations to the acoustic guitar into the market, even when they didn't have to. They were paramount in introducing an acoustic guitar that had a neck joined to the body as opposed to joined by bolts in a new assembly that they designed and patented called the New Tech Neck System, which was a series of bolts and shims that allowed for perfect right angle mounting of the neck to the body of the guitar, allowed for much easier adjusting, a better tone transfer between the neck and the body, all sorts of things that would have been considered taboo until Taylor introduced them to the market and proved that it was successful and not only just as good but superior to previous designs. What he's done now is turn his attention to electronics. And Taylor owners know this, they've come on board. Generally, acoustic guitars are amplified with an onboard electronic system, a package, if you will, which takes the signal of the acoustic guitar, puts it through a set of electronics, and then amplifies it. And then you can send it to an amplifier or a PA or what have you. And it's a consistent and reliable way to amplify an acoustic guitar. But there are elements that make it sound not acoustic guitar-like in that process by having to have a separate set of electronics on board. So what they did was they got together a couple of electronics gurus, if you will. One of them's name was David Hostler, Taylor's electronics specialist, and the other one was a guy named Rupert Neve, who some of you may have heard of because he's a high-end studio console designer, has been for 40 years. He's designed some probably consoles in the majority of studios around the world. And they developed a system that uses pickups and magnetics to actually amplify and mounts to the inside of the body of the guitar. So the resonance of the guitar is actually what's being amplified as opposed to a set of electronics. And they also designed a preamp to go along with it. And that's what the ES system is. And the benefits of it are that it produces greater dynamic range for your instrument. Acoustic guitarists know there's a big difference between when you strum it. This is when the guitar is unplugged. You strum it really hard, you strum it really soft. There's a huge difference in the amount of output that you get out. Same with your finger picking, if you're just barely touching the strings or if you're really pulling up on the strings. The previous systems had limits to the amount of dynamic range up and down that you can get. With the ES system, it's just about as close to actually having the sound of an acoustic guitar amplified through a system that you can get. Mike's 514 CE has the ES system on it.
I just got this guitar about a week and a half before this tour started, so this is my first touring experience with this instrument, and I'm really satisfied with it. It's the first time I've played an amplified acoustic where I felt like what people were hearing was the actual sound of the guitar that I was playing, and the sensitivity that I'm trying to apply with dynamics and with articulation, and everything I play is coming across, and it's very satisfying.
Just taking a look around, I see that there's a 614 and a 414 CE behind me that have the ES system on it. I can't see the model of this one, but it's a 455 that also has the ES system on it. I encourage you to check it out. It really does make a difference, and it's worth feeling the difference.
Anybody have anything to say to Brian at this point, or to me?
Do you want to question my knowledge of the ES system?
Actually, we should give away a set of strings. We should somehow tie an ES-related question to this set of strings. You have to raise your hand, otherwise we don't know who said it.
That's right.
Well, you have to say
down. Name one of the two electronics specialists who were right there. That's right. Name the other.
Raise your hand. There you go.
We are strict taskmasters.
That mic's right in the way. If I tried to throw it at you, it would have caromed off and beamed somebody over there.
That's right. So,
okay,
but yeah,
cool.
it's check it out. It's a very cool thing, and again, it's not something that they were forced to do. It's something that they feel is the right thing to do to bring this innovation to the market.
Let's do something that has vocals and consists of notes and words. Yeah. Well, it's
part of the guitar.
It's part of the guitar now. Although they can retrofit. Right, and actually, I'm not even sure how much it costs to have it retrofitted into an older instrument, but it can be done.
Yeah, contact the factory, and they can do that for you, answer those questions for you. The people at the factory are really nice.
Dancing.
Work our way back up.
Yeah. tune down to low B if you're playing along in the audience.
Forever stay. Never a moment of duress. I like that dress. E follow D like I do and you follow me. So strong, nothing wrong. On a song we're dancing, going right along. Alive and strong, we're dancing on and on. Right or wrong, we're dancing love on and on. Roll on. We're dancing, dancing, dancing on the top of a star. I laugh and love who you are, you are. I'm dancing, you're dancing on the ocean blue. I'm dancing to the heart of you. I saw the city melt away forever. Stay, follow D like I do you and you follow me. So strong, nothing wrong. On a song we're dancing, go right along. Alive and strong we're dancing, no, all and on. Right or wrong, we're dancing love all and on. Roll on. We're dancing.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Beller. All right. Free set of strings to the first person who raises their hand and can tell us what the name of that last song was, yes? Bear Divide, which actually is the opening track on Brian Beller's debut solo album. Hold it up so everybody can see it. The other way. View. That's Brian's first solo record. Before that, when I had the guitar up like that, it was that was a piece from Wood and Smoke called DNA. Thank you very much for...
There's just, we're trying to mix it up and do songs that are meant for acoustics, and also songs that were not meant for acoustics, songs that, it really should require a 4-piece band with a drummer and a keyboard player and another guitarist to do, but we are condensing into a 2-person arrangement.
Which another reason why we're grateful that these instruments are so rich sounding, because often Brian's got to be doing the work of a bass player and a rhythm guitar player and a drummer sometimes also, and the instruments can handle it, so it's cool.
You guys have any questions about what we're doing, or what was that?
What were you doing with your right hand on the fretboard here?
Oh, well, the song on the record is actually 2 tracks. I really wanted everything to be crystal clean, so I played the melody and just let that note hang, and then it was a totally separate track. So in order to let that sustain, I just bring my hand up there. It's a cheap trick, is what it is.
Can I ask a question of Mike?
Yeah.
I'm new to the guitar. I've been playing for about 15 months.
Okay.
I really love it.
Cool.
And you're obviously a super great player.
Oh, thank you.
I was wondering what type of training you had.
Actually, didn't have guitar training. My musical training when I was really young was on the electric organ. It was the first instrument that I played when I was 7, and then I decided I wanted to play guitar also. So I asked for a guitar for my 11th birthday, and my parents were kind enough to hook me up with a guitar. But my only training was as a keyboard player, which a lot of people, when they are self-taught musicians who say that they want to get more technical grounding in music, when they ask me for advice, I suggest learning keyboard, because I think that the keyboard is just such a easily comprehensible and graphic interface to the world of music. It's so linear. For me, it was real easy to figure out. And then when I started learning the guitar, it was pretty easy going to just kind of think of each string as a separate keyboard starting on a different note. and then I could just view the frets as, I could easily see the half steps and the whole steps, similar to the way they are on a keyboard once I knew what the opening notes were, what the open strings represented. And at that point, it became easier to start piecing together melodies and figuring out chords and stuff. But from my standpoint, the history as a guitar player has been pretty eccentric because of the fact that I haven't had formal training. And most of what I know about guitar playing just came from keeping my ears and eyes wide open, listening to and watching a lot of other guitar players that I respected tremendously, and most importantly, just not stopping. I've been playing guitar for 30 years now, and I'm still nowhere near as good as I want to be, but I've come a long way, and I think that it's mainly just you just keep pushing forward and trying to learn new things all the time. I try to learn something new every time I pick it up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, the last tune, the last little bit that you heard, the last couple of minutes was something that Bella wrote. All the other stuff that we've been doing have been songs that I wrote. How many songs have I written? Real hard to say. I started writing when I was about 12, and I've got 9 albums released. I'm about to release another 2, and just those albums alone probably represent at least a couple of hundred songs, and that's kind of the tip of the iceberg in terms of I've probably written like 400, 500 songs, I guess. What's that?
Well, your favorite.
My favorite Mike Keneally songs? Man, I never think about that consciously, but as soon as you said that, for some reason, the title Spoonguy came into my head.
Hang on.
You want to try to play it? Oh my God.
We haven't been doing this on this tour.
Considering this is maybe subconsciously my favorite Mike Keneally song, I'm not even sure I know how to play it right now. It's on my first album, which is Hat, but I also did an arrangement for 50-piece orchestra for this orchestral work that I've got coming out, which is called The Universe Will Provide. Almost all the music on the orchestra album is newly written for the orchestra, but I took the opportunity to rearrange a couple of old themes. One was there's a piece on Boil That Dust Speck called Bullies, which is mainly just a guitar solo on Dust Speck, but there was a whole bunch of other stuff written at the time that I didn't record. So I busted out that old chart, and me and Chris Opperman and I arranged it for the orchestra. And then there's this piece, Spoonguy, that we did for the orchestra, and it sounds really, really cool as an orchestra piece. We'll see what it sounds like as an acoustic piece from 2 people who haven't played it in a couple of years.
You want to do it into Li'l?
Okay, that's a good idea, just in case we chump it. We can
Yeah,
play something
yeah.
we know.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We're going to try and do this song that we barely remember, and then we're going to do a song that's off of Mike's upcoming album, which is going to come out next year. While he practices it, I'll tell you about it. It's called Dog, and Dog's going to be coming out next year. It's actually available for pre-order now. If you step up and pre-order
There's
it,
a note I'm not going to be able to play on this guitar, but
you can sing it.
okay. Okay.
There's always a solution.
That's right.
Anyway, if you pre-order Dog now, then you will. The official edition comes with a CD, a DVD.
Yeah,
right?
it's what we're making available for pre-order is the special edition of Dog, which is going to have a DVD as the second disc, which has live and studio footage of our band. We have a 4-piece band, which also features Nick DiVirgilio, who some of you know from his own band, Spock's Beard, and another guitar player named Rick Musalam. So if you pre-order the special edition, we will give you on the spot a copy of Pup, which is a 35-minute disc containing a whole bunch of music that's not going to be available anywhere else, and also some weird radio ID type links that I did, because it's also a preview of the Radio Keneally internet radio service, 24-hour-a-day streaming unreleased Keneally music that's going to start up next year also. So
first we're going to do the thing that we barely know,
and then
we're
we'll
going to do the thing.
play something that we hopefully do know, and we won't be so demoralized from playing the thing we don't know.
Yeah.
Ready?
What's the first note?
All
right,
yeah,
okay.
1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thanks very much.
You say it's your birthday, but I'm not gonna have a good time. I'm sorry to say I can't be there today. I'm in a galaxy far, far away. I wish for you the best of days, and every single wish that you make. If I could do this for you, I'd make them all come true. But I can't make me be there with you. I'm afraid the whole parade is passing me by. Baby's grown to such a great big girl, and daddy is halfway around the world. I hope you know that I love you so, and I'd give the stars to you. I'm afraid it's true. I'm on the big bus again, and I know that you're wondering when. Honey, please don't be crying, I promise that I'll be fine. I don't believe it'll burn this time. I'll be home soon, I know, and I'll see you smile again. And run and give your mom a hug for me. You know I miss her so terribly. I hope you know that I love you so, and I give the stars to you. I'm afraid it's true. I'm afraid, should I have stayed? Have I done the right thing? Every moment you and I don't spend is a moment we can't get back again. I hope you know that I love you so, and I give the world to you. I'm afraid it's true. I love you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. That's called I'm Afraid. It's on an album called Sluggo, which is very red and which is also out there in the foyer. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
Just considering how hard you did dig in sometimes. I'm real surprised you're using a great auditorium with a cedar top. You ever find that you overdrive the top?
Not with this system anyway. It seems to be able to withstand whatever punishment I put it through. I mean, I couldn't play it too much harder than I've been playing it on and I haven't heard it distort yet. So I think it's built for speed.
Any other questions?
For us? No, then let's ask them.
In the back, in the back.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know in terms of like percentage, but I've probably written several dozen tunes in weird tunings.
Having said that, the question I really want to answer is what led you to go away from the standard tune? I've never done anything with standard tuning. I don't even know what they other than standard.
Oh, well, I mean, it's really nothing for me. It's nothing more than, sometimes I'll say, okay, gonna write a song, and I'll sit down and I'll start doing stuff, and maybe standard tuning just isn't leading me anywhere that day, So I'll start twisting things at random and just seeing if I can find something that does, maybe I'll say, oh, I want to play this chord shape. But I don't want it to sound like that. I want to play that chord shape and have it sound like something completely different. So I'll experiment with different tunings until that chord shape, results in something really, peculiar and maybe kind of clustery in a way that you can't do in standard tuning too easily. And then it's fun. Well, for instance. This is a E, G, D, G, A, E. And this is just like a standard, like an A chord shape, like playing a regular old A major triad with this tuning sounds like this. Because you've got this whole tone dissonance thing, which isn't really dissonance, but actually, if you know what you're doing with it, it's real pretty. And then I've got the A string tuned down to G, and that's kind of providing me with a drone for the opening chord. And then I wrote a song with this tuning called Natty Trousers. Oh, you were gonna use that. Okay, what album is it on?
What album is the song Natty Trousers? Right there.
Well, that's
There you
That's
go.
right.
But did you already get some strings?
no.
Okay, cool. I thought you did. All right.
There we go.
Haven't played this in a while either, but it's just it's pretty. So that's why I like it.
And you can also make things ugly and gnarly with it too. I mean, Weekend. There's another song they wrote on that same album called Weekend, which is a really nasty alternate
Okay,
tuning.
yeah. For that one, I'm really putting this guitar through its paces, but
Yeah.
it's like a D13 open thing. Low E down to D, G string back up to A, D string down to C, G down a half step to F sharp.
We can talk about something while we get it back to standard tuning eventually.
This one back up to B. This is a twisted weekend of my life. I walk and I mumble to myself for an hour, and I think my head is going to explode. These are the strangest moments of my days. There is no focus, voices from on high are laughing, and I think my head is going to explode. Play
fair, you blasted faucets. Play fair, you deities. I can't predict your courses. My brain is slurpy freeze. Relent, you Philippine forces. Retreat, you wicked gods. Retreat on winged horses. I can't abide these. Oh my God, I haven't played this in a long time. Cannot drag myself into the shower, and I think my face is going to explode inside of the next hour. These are the strangest moments of my days. Our voices from on high are laughing. Their tone makes me weak. This is the twisted weekend of my life. I mumble to myself for an hour. Pop out my chest. Play fair, you blasted forces. Play fair, you hijinks lords. Your point is tenfold proven. You've gone well overboard. Relent, you flip forces, and make past tense your shrieks. You lousy good for nothings. You taunt and shrieking freaks. Thank you. I've done that in a while.
Yeah, I know. It's been a few years since we played that song.
I don't have enough youthful angst to do that.
You're too happy these days.
I know.
I know.
I know. It sounded fairly convincing.
Quick, Mike.
I want to follow this question up. How aware of you of like what key and stuff you're in when you're in a tuning like that, like the sort of Zeppelin. Did you hear that?
Well, you notice I messed it up when I went to it the first time because I was thinking about it. Oh, what's the position? In fact, the top two strings are B and E, so I needn't have worried. But in the heat of the moment, because I hadn't played this song much lately, I forgot. But basically once you've written the song and you memorize the positioning, you don't really have to think about what key it's in a song that doesn't involve improvisation like that one. It's just a set series of things, and you need one finger to play a lot of that song. So that's all just barring one finger across the neck for a lot of that stuff. Yeah, for desired effect, which is.
You notice how that guitar stayed in tune all through that song, even though it was banging it and hammering it? It's been pre-tuned it 3 times in the last 10 minutes. Taylor guitars.
Actually, the Dust Spec was like the altered tuning album. There's like at least 5
songs in an altered state. Yeah, this song, Desired Effect, is D A D G C E. So it's like a G triad over an open D fifth. And actually would like to do this song right now, so let me make sure I'm properly in tune. But yeah, when I get to the improv here, if I'm feeling super adventurous, sometimes I'll leave it tuned up a half step, and then if I'm feeling kind of wimpy, then I tune it down during the solo and then tune it back up again for the ending.
Well, you know, there's no way now that he said that he's actually going to retune it during the solo, because he'll have cop to it being wimpy at that.
We'll just see. We haven't had a day off in a while. I think I have earned some wimpiness. These are Elixir lights right now. I tend to prefer using thicker strings, but I only had lights with me on the road, so last time I changed strings, I put lights on. Well, I don't, you know what, I've never really developed allegiances to almost anything, you know, other than I'll have a guitar that I like and play a lot. Like, for instance, I played the same electric for 15 years, but you know, given that, I like to change stuff up a lot. I like to you know, change my circumstances, change the parameters of the performance so that I don't feel complacent. And I don't always want to feel the same exact way every time I pick up an instrument. So I like to change stuff up on myself.